Okay, so we're going to create the skeleton in here, and in order to do that, we're just going to go to the rigging tab now for 2016. Skeleton, create joints. Now, generally you could start in the front viewport. For this particular one, I like to have shading, wireframe on shaded on, and I'm going to start at the root, which is right here, basically in the waist or groin region, and I'm going to go in my side view because I'm going to run it right up the center, and I know it will be placed directly on x is 0, x equals 0. So starting with the spine is always a good idea. And you can only add joints in your orthographic cameras. That would be front, side, back, or top. So those viewports. You cannot add joints unless they've changed it. Nope, in your perspective view. So we'll start here, and you'll notice right away that the joints are pretty large. So I'm going to actually delete what I just did, and I'm going to go to shading, and I'm going to put X-ray joints. This way we can see it. And another thing we can do is display under animation, joint size. Go ahead and make this smaller. I'm going to make it about 0.25. That sounds about right. And I'm going to go ahead and start that joint process again. Skeleton, create joints. So from here, I'm going to go starting at the waist. And according to your topology, this will vary, but I'm basically just going to place a couple of joints in like so. And I can start, I'm going to put one right at the base of the neck. This is going to be my chest joint, and then these are just spine joints. And then one at the top. You could go center of the neck, one here at the base, and then you're going to go to the back of the skull and to the top of the forehead. And to give you a better idea, because this looks a little, the joints should be a little bit smaller. It doesn't matter particularly the size of them, it's just a visual representation of what they're doing. So I'm going to change it, and you'll see this one should be a little bit higher. Now when I'm moving joints around, if I go ahead and I just move it around like that, you'll see it pulls the entire chain of those. So what you want to do is you want to hold D, and this will allow you, hold D, this will allow you to only move just that joint. And you're going to want to place these based on the topology. And give that slightly bend. So also what you're doing when you have these joints set up like this is you want to make sure that they bend in the way that they will generally go ahead and bend. So this doesn't have to be so far back, because from this point I'm going to actually, I do what is, I create a jaw joint. In order to do that, I just place one right here and press return. Shift click this joint, the one in the back of the skull, and press P. And now I've got a joint for my jaw. I could run it really from anywhere, but I prefer this one generally. Something like so. So that's how I set up my joints for the spine. Now we're going to go ahead, run through this, and I'm going to shading X-ray joints. I'm going to run through, and you can select joints in your perspective, but you cannot create them. So this is going to be my root joint, and I'm going to add J and T as an extension to each one of these, spine, J and spine 1, or spine 0, 1, J and T. And a little trick, you can copy this whole thing and go ahead and then just paste it and then change each sequential number. Spine 2, spine 3. This will be my chest joint. And then in here, you don't necessarily have to have so many joints. So let's just say you accidentally added too many and you didn't want to have this extra joint in here. What you can do is you press Shift P and then Shift P on this one. That will isolate the joint. Shift P is unparent. You can do Edit, Unparent. And let's go ahead and just delete this. And now you would just go ahead, and make sure you select them in the right way. So I'm going to select this one at the bottom base of the neck, and then shift select this one and press P, and now I've recreated that chain. So just so you know, you can do things like that as well. You don't have to delete the entire thing and recreate all of the joints again. So neck 01, J and T. I'll put this one at neck 02, J and T. Head, J and T. Or, you know, something like that. And then, you know, head 02, J and T. And jaw, J and T.